tough fight for Conor. Not saying he can't win it because one big left hook could change anything. But to me, his best chances are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's gonna be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improved fighter. You understand me? And like even the stuff he's doing now, he's gonna continue to get better. But I think when he came down there with me for that year, it improved his foundation. You understand me? So it made him a better fighter. So he's gonna be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull out the upset at one time, so I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's gonna be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantage because he's bigger, but it's gonna be a great fight.
You know what, a lot of people are talking about, Roy, you know about cutting weight and whatnot. A lot of people are talking about Chris Eubank Jr. now being at 160 and maybe being tight at that weight now, but the rehydration clause, £10, I'm saying, listen, with a £10 rehydration clause in it, that won't affect him at all.
That won't affect him at all, but I don't really think Chris was big on rehydrating anyway, so I don't think he's gonna get that big, you know what I mean? He might, but I don't think 10 pounds bothers him at all.
Fast forward for another light heavyweight contest going, Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol, February the 20th.
I like the ability of Eubanks when he's right, you know, when his focus is there, when he's right. To be able to do things in a boxing way on the outside. And I love Ben's style and his approach. I do, where, you know, being aggressive in a responsible way, you know, in a way a fighter should be, with paying attention to, you know, doing it with defense and responsibility of defense and, you know, just proper way to engage somebody, but the consistent offense looking to, you know, to engage.
They know how to sell a fight, absolutely. Both of them, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. They know what they're doing. They know how to sell a fight, and everyone's talking about it. So job done. You know, I seen a thing that there was 120,000 people in the queue for tickets. So if that's the case, then phenomenal. And it's the type of fight where people who aren't boxing fans are going to be going, watching, which brings in a whole new audience, which is only a good thing for.
Very tough fight for Conor. Not saying he can't win it because one big left hook could change anything. But to me, his best chances are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improvement.
Yeah, well, it's bigger than it ever was. It's 3 times bigger than it was before the 2 positive clomiphene tests. Ben's dangerous early in that fight, in my view, because he's coming with all that stinging venom and kind of pent-up aggression that he's developed over the last 2.5 years. But I think Eubanks fought the better level of opponents, even though he's aged 2.5 years and he's been knocked out by Liam Smith.
Eubanks, you know, wants to probably keep it on the outside as much as he can and use his skill sets to, you know, use his hand speed and his ability to throw counter punches and, you know, punches from different angles. He needs space, or space accommodates him pretty well and favors him pretty well when he has that space to do that. And I would think that Ben would like to take that space away, you know, like to kind of work his way in and maybe go to the body like a Beterbiev with a Bivol, take the legs away, you know.
I'm looking forward to the build-up once they get the fathers involved. April the 26th, Nigel and Conor are both emotional. And Chris both play the villain, don't they?
Okay.
Even though I think in this one, Eubank Jr. is going to be able to sit back a little bit. Yeah, some people are saying that they don't think the fight means anything, but I think the bloodline in British sport.
Any man in the UK who's watched the dads fight,
what the circus is and what you're a fool to buy into, it's a really good fight. It's a 50-50 fight between 2 guys that are world ranked in their division. I mean, he's making out like neither of them have ever boxed before. They're both used to this. It's a mismatch. It's not. It's a 50-50 fight between 2 world-ranked fighters who, by the way, fathers happen to be Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank, who had the biggest rivalry ever in British boxing, and, by the way, whose sons now have, by far, the biggest rivalry in British.
I just think Conor Benn's going to win. Too young, too fresh, and although, listen, Eubank it took a lot for him to come back after getting viciously knocked out by Liam Smith to come back and beat Liam Smith. I just think Conor Benn's going to win. Too young, too fresh. Although, listen, Eubank, it took a lot for him to come back after getting viciously knocked out by Liam Smith to come back and beat Liam Smith. I just think the fight's happening at the right time for Conor Benn. I think the fight's happening at the right time, and I favour Conor Benn in the fight.
Yeah.
I think Eubank Jr. is good for boxing. Genuinely, I think Chris Jr. is good for boxing. I think that if he was promoted by a Frank Warren or an Eddie Hearn back in the day when he turned pro, he would be an even bigger star than what he is now because of how he is. He's funny, like he's quite funny, isn't he, Eubanks Jr.? He speaks well. But yeah, I think he's good for boxing, but I just think Conor Benn's going to chin it.
I think it's a great fight. I would pick Ben at the minute simply because Eubank was cracked by Liam Smith, and he was never cracked before, and it's a summary for me. He had a great chin up to then, and then he was knocked out, and it's never quite the same again. I think Ben is a more explosive fighter than Liam Smith. He's faster. He punches hard, but then good big one will always beat a good little one, all those cliches. But I just think I would give Ben the edge. But
he's gonna be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull out the upset that one time, so I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's gonna be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantage because he's bigger. But it's going to be a great
backing Conor Benn. I know Conor, spoke to him a few times, always been a top bloke to me. His dad's a top bloke, his dad's a legend, and I'll be backing him. But it's going to be difficult, as he's already alluded to, the two weight divisions coming up, but it'll also be difficult for Eubank to stay within that hydration clause, I think it is. So it's all to play for both men.
And that's what the boxing experts think. Some say Eubank Jr. is too big and strong. Others believe Benn's speed and energy will help him win. One thing is sure, this fight will be exciting. Both fighters have something to prove. Eubank Jr. wants to show he is still one of the best. Benn wants to prove he can fight at this level. This is more than just a match. It's about pride, family, and heart. Who do you think will win? Will Eubank Jr.'s power be too much, or will Benn's fast attacks tire him out? Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss boxing news, fight predictions, and expert opinions. The fight is almost here, and we will soon find out who was right. Get ready, because when these two step into the ring, it's going to be a war.